So tonight's assignment is prototypical inheritance. It has two parts, and this is how they both should end up looking. So the first part is to create a constructor function called HTML element. It should have a method of click, which console logs clicked, and its parent base should have a method of focus, which console logs focus. And when we assign it to E, it should inherit all of that. So I already completed this. I'm just gonna copy it over just so you guys can see. So first we're going to create the constructor function called HTML element with the method of click, which console logs clicked. Then we're going to give its parent prototype a method of function, which console logs function. Now we're going to assign it to E. And when we call E, we should have both. So E inherits click from HTML element, and HTML element inherits focus from its parent base. So we can call both from E. And now the next part, we have to create a constructor function called HTML select element, and it inherits from HTML element. It takes an array as an argument. If there is none provided, it will return an empty items array. It has two method properties, add item and remove item. Oh, here we go. First, we're going to create the constructor function called HTML select element. The argument is an items array. It has a method of add item, which pushes the desired item to the end of the function. It has a method called remove item, which finds the index of the item and removes it from the array. Now, initially, I was going to do it this way because this was the way we were taught in the beginning, but I'll show you why it doesn't work after I show you why it works. So now we're gonna have HTML select the prototypes of HTML select element inherit from HTML element. We're going to assign S to HTML element. I'm sorry, to HTML select element. All right, now S should inherit everything. So S has add item. This is its properties, and it inherited click and focus from HTML element and HTML select element. I'm sorry, from HTML element and HTML element's parent base object. So we're gonna assign it to E. So now E has all of those. So we can add items. E dot add item. Let's add the number 1. Now let's add the number 2. Now E should have 1 and 2 in the array. 1 and 2. Now let's remove 2. Now E should only have 1. And then E also inherited click and focus, so we can call that in here too. All right, now let's do it the incorrect way. So this is the incorrect way. The reason why this is incorrect is because the prototype of HTML element is inheriting not from HTML element, but it's inheriting from from the parent from the prototypes of the parent element of HTML element. I'm so sorry, let me say that again. So HTML select elements prototypes are inheriting from HTML elements parent object-based prototypes. So it won't inherit everything. It won't inherit any properties from HTML element, but it will inherit properties from HTML elements parent object, right? So we're gonna, let's call it P. So P has everything except for click, because click was a method in HTML element. But when we did it this way, we're inheriting the properties from the parent of HTML element. That is why we only have focus and not click. Click won't return anything except an error. I'm sorry, this is the P focus. Click won't return anything except an error. Yep. So there we have that. That was the trickiest part for me to figure out because we didn't, well, we're supposed to know about it, right? Logically, it's not going to inherit anything from HTML. It's going to inherit prototypes from HTML. I'm sorry, it's going to inherit methods from HTML's prototype, which is the parent object. But that took me the longest to work out, but it was a good learning experience.